Hey Facebook, welcome to Friday morning. It's great to be here again and really excited to be speaking about loving our body today and particularly overcoming tiredness and exhaustion and 5 symptoms that you may not be listening to within your body. I really honestly believe that our body is it's so imperative to be able to listen and tune into our body. I feel like our body is definitely a beautiful sports car that, when taken care of, fueled with the right nutrition and driven at its capabilities, then it really does deliver a genuinely smooth, amazing ride. And our body really does affect so much in our life. If we don't feel great in our body, our relationships suffer, our mental health suffers. We've all had those days where you wake up and you feel tired and you feel exhausted, but you're not necessarily, fueling your body with the right foods and different things. So when you're feeling tired and exhausted, obviously we're less resourceful. We don't show up in a great way. Sorry, just kicking a few things around here. We don't show up in a great way for our kids or for our family or for our work. There's the foggy mind, there's the not feeling clear within yourself, or just feeling, like I said before, tired and exhausted, feeling lethargic, and perhaps, that then goes on to definitely affect our emotions as well, and how well that we deal with the stress in our life. And I just want to take a second to explain the stress cycle, because I think that this will definitely make a massive impact on people in terms of understanding what's actually really going on with your body. So the stress cycle obviously can affect us all at times. We all have periods of stress in life. It's just how well do you actually handle and manage that stress, and what are you actually doing to take really great care of your body. So obviously main symptoms of stress, not sleeping very well. It could be impaired digestive system. It could be just feeling tired and exhausted. It could be feeling reactive in your relationships, and just feeling short and impatient perhaps with yourself. So just a loss of emotional resilience, or just a dimming down of that. And of course, that definitely impacts everything else, like we've just spoken about before. So definitely being able to understand the stress response is imperative for being able to move through that and be able to create greater outcomes for your body, to develop optimal health and well-being, and to really increase your energy again as well. So with your stress response, basically whenever the body is under stress, it's still wired as the caveman days. So it's like when there's an alert or something that's going on, or even when we're rushing, our body goes into the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight-flight response. And within that, the body is not worried about digesting breakfast if it's being chased by the tiger. Now, that mightn't be such an issue, you're thinking, if you don't normally have brekkie. However, what happens is that that can do a couple of twofold things. So that if we're not having breakfast, definitely impacts blood sugar levels. And what happens by 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we're on this erratic kind of blood sugar crash and lift, because if we're not having brekkie, generally we'll go for something a little bit more carbohydrate, a little bit more sugary, and then that spikes our blood insulin, and then so the body's got to work, or spikes the blood sugar, and then the body's got to work really hard to get that back under control. Anything from 10 minutes to an hour later, you'll generally feel an energy crash, and then that's where we start to go for the muffins, and go for the sweet things, and go for the can of Coke or the coffee and the caffeine to be able to pick us up and lift us up. And we spend all day going up and down and up and down with our blood sugar levels, which doesn't leave us feeling emotionally stable. And so that's one of the first key things with brekkie. However, with the stress cycle, our digestive system is inhibited when we're in the sympathetic nervous system. So it really it makes it very difficult for the body to actually digest and properly assimilate the nutrition that we actually really need eat. So even if you are eating really great, if you're constantly under stress, it's going to be much harder for your body to actually access those particular foods and to have it feeling great. So another thing that, just being mindful and taking 3 big deep breaths before we actually, hey Bernie, great to have you on here, Dylan, before we actually really take a meal in or anything like that, one quick thing that we can do to switch from the sympathetic fight-flight response back to a parasympathetic response where the body is able to easily digest its food, absorb the nutrients, take in that nutrition at a cellular level and be able to really function at a much greater level, is just taking 3 big deep breaths before a meal, before you eat. Not eating at the desk, not eating in the car. All of these things I'm sure that you guys know and are really aware of, but it's just a matter of, are you actually following through? Are you practicing that? Are you actually sitting down and eating in a nice, relaxed environment as opposed to rushing about and throwing something down really quickly? And I can put both hands up there and say I've been equally guilty of that, and my digestive system has suffered as a result. So taking really great care of our physical body and being able to manage our stress. And I'll get into a little bit more of that later on. However, one of the things that can really impact the way that we interact with our body and feel about our body as well is definitely within how, what emotions do we actually have about our body? Are we loving our body from a place of nurturing, or are we trying to beat it into shape, or are we punishing it for not functioning the way that we want? So getting frustrated and angry at it, and trying to force it to do things that just aren't conducive to health and well-being. And it can be, I've definitely been there in the past where I've suffered a lot of frustration around my body image and things like that, where I've really pushed it to its very limits. And I think there's definitely times where great cardio sessions and taking it to its limits is very valuable, because it helps us grow, it helps us become stronger. Our muscles will continue to diminish, particularly from the age of 30 onwards, if we are not actively challenging them and giving them some form of resistance to either continue grow. And if they're not growing, it's kind of like everything. If it's not growing, it's actually dying. So by stepping into and really bringing through that resistance training and actively pushing our body when it feels right to do that. So you'll need to definitely tune into your body, and I definitely recommend doing that on high energy days where you do feel great, and just by tuning into your body more and more, you're going to know what is really right for your body. And a PT might be obviously a great choice around helping you do that initially as well. So one of the other things is, so going back to loving yourself and loving your body and really nurturing it and appreciating it, by actually tuning into what you're actually eating, you'll get instant feedback from your body. So I know that there's probably things that you've eaten, and I can definitely put my hand up. In the past, I'd definitely eat things that I knew that I wasn't going to feel great after I ate, and it was almost like an addiction to still have those things. It was like I felt deprived without having those things. And as my mindset shifted, the more that I loved my body and tuned into my body and felt a greater sense of gratitude for my body, the more and more I wanted to put the right things into it. And I truly think that our bodies are a magnificent gift from our parents, and it's almost like if we were given a gift from somebody, we really want to be able to take great care of that. It's not something that we just throw about or we treat just like rubbish. And I think that's one of the things that actually happens with everyday life, is life gets in the way and we just assume that our bodies are just going to keep going. and we miss a lot of signs and symptoms that things aren't necessarily the way that they should be. Number one, if you're feeling tired and exhausted and you're not waking up feeling refreshed and ready to get into the day, that is a huge red flag. It is letting you know there are some things off, whether that's within stresses within your life that are really impacting you at the moment, and maybe it's time to really jump in and have a look at what some of those stresses are, because they will be definitely playing out throughout your body as well. So hey Tuan, great to have you on here. And so definitely looking at those stresses. But also, so if you're tired and exhausted, that is your number one symptom that something is not okay with your body. Our bodies are designed to feel amazing. And if they're not feeling amazing, that's also a key sign. So tiredness and exhaustion, if you have pain anywhere in your body, that is also a sign of inflammation. It's a sign that something is either out of alignment, whether it's muscular or whether it's skeletal system. If you're getting headaches, obviously that's another huge clue. There's potentially neurotoxicity. If your food is not getting digested properly because you're in that fight-flight response like I spoke about, and you've got undigested food particles going around in your bloodstream, that is definitely going to, and that can happen through leaky gut syndrome. Some of you may have heard of that. That is going to create neurotoxicity. Obviously, if we're hungover and we've literally poisoned our body from the night before, and we can do that definitely with food. If there's foods that your body, is unable to process or metabolize efficiently, it's going to have to push that back out into the bloodstream, particularly if we're backed up digestively and perhaps not going regularly. And I know that's kind of a funny topic to talk about, but it's so important, because if our large intestine is backed up, then the liver can't dump its metabolic waste into the large intestine and excrete that out through the large intestine. It's got to find another pathway, it's got to find another way of getting rid of that. So generally it'll go back into the bloodstream, and then it comes out in our skin. So obviously our skin is a large excretory organ. We sweat and release toxins through that. So that is definitely one way that the body tries to excrete its toxins if it can't do that through the large intestine. Obviously through the urine as well is another way, but also through our lungs. And that's why if you've got bad breath, that is another symptom that you've got a whole bunch of toxicity going on, and your body's not functioning optimally and being able to really give you all that you deserve in life. Like when we feel great within our body, that makes a massive impact as well. It, like I said at the start, it impacts in so many areas of our life. So if you've got headaches, that is an indication of either too much tension, obviously holding through the shoulders. Our neck muscles can get very tight and rigid, particularly if you're at a computer desk and things, but it's also impacted massively by the thoughts that you're actually having every day and by the stresses that are going on in your life. And these can be perceived stresses or real stresses. Obviously in this day and age, like I spoke about before, the fight-flight response, we're not actually getting chased by the tiger, but the body doesn't know the difference. A perceived stress, so an imagined stress. So if we're worrying about the future, or we're ruminating on the past and what went wrong and how bad that was, then your body is going to be experiencing that again and again, as if it is real time, as if it has already happened, and that creates a huge amount of toxicity, and then your body's going into a much more adrenal response where it's shooting out all these alarm bells, and biochemically, your body is reacting as if it's being chased by the tiger. So again, that impacts the digestive system and a whole bunch of stuff. So we really want to, I know I'm kind of covering a lot of things at the moment, but we really want to have a look at, what are the aspects that are really affecting our life in terms of stress, and what is it that you're not listening to within your body. So we had, tiredness and exhaustion. We had pain in the body. So back pain is obviously a huge one. If we have headaches, if we have stomach digestive issues, that is another big red flag that something is not okay. It's like letting you know something's off. And again, you know, I think that we definitely push through and try and ignore and just get frustrated and irritated that our body's not working well, as opposed to really, really taking great care of it. And I truly believe a lot of people, I feel like sleep is totally important as well, Tuan. I totally agree with that, and absolutely imperative. So I did speak about getting quality sleep. So if you're waking up tired and exhausted, obviously sleep is being impaired as well, and that can definitely be impacted by what we've eaten the night before, or what we've drank the night before. So if you're waking generally between the hours of 1 and 3, every 2 hours, your body actually shifts. This is back to the Chinese meridian system, but it shifts into its focus of where it's putting the main amount of energy into restoring or rejuvenating that particular body organ. And between 1 and 3 a.m. in the morning is liver time. So if you're waking during those hours, it means that your liver is really struggling to deal with or to metabolize, to rejuvenate and regenerate overnight what it is that you've put into your body the day before. And obviously processed foods, all of those things are foreign chemicals to the body. And I am a huge advocate of getting more and more whole foods. It's like a one ingredient food. So an apple is an apple. There's nothing else added to it. And of course, you know, where we can buy organic, I truly do believe it does make a difference, and really helps to reduce, you know, pesticide levels and other toxins in an already overloaded body. Obviously medication as well can be other things that really impact that, and I'm certainly not advising anybody to get off their medication, but definitely speak to your doctor about the ways that is impacting your body in other ways. Obviously there's symptoms and things, and I'm a huge advocate of natural therapies where possible. Obviously if I cut my leg, I'm going to go get stitches. I'm not going to sit there and hope and pray and you know, I'll still do that as well, but definitely I'll be going and getting the stitches. So it's really tuning into your body and really understanding what it is that you actually need. But I want to really branch into another kind of left field thing where I truly believe, and this is from the model of kinesiology, that our body is a beautiful gift, and it's such a beautiful gift from our soul. I'll just read what chocolate whilst bad before bed is a great food coma. Yes, well, I think a lot of, just digressing slightly with what you've said there, Tuan, a lot of what actually happens when we are so stressed, we try and use food to numb ourselves, and having a huge deal of carbohydrates really acts like a tranquilizer within our system as well. Doesn't necessarily help us feel that great the following day, but it also numbs us, and it gives us a huge tranquilizer effect as well, where you're feeling bloated. It's almost like the pre or the post-Christmas dinner feeling, where it's just like, oh my God, I can't move, and feeling comatized, but it just creates so much effort and work for our body the following day, trying to get rid of that as well. And I'm not against a chocolate by any means, but I am very particular about the chocolate that I put into my body. So I normally go for 90% Lindt chocolate, and it's got, you know, barely any sugar in it. It's still, for me, you know, a beautiful treat, or just something nice that I like to have. It's also definitely got caffeine in it too, so it can be a little bit more of a natural boost with the cocoa or cacao beans and things like that too. So so that definitely won't help you sleep. Sometimes, depending on the type of chocolate that you're having, could definitely impair sleep too, as it's got caffeine in it. So it's just being aware and really educating yourself. I think these days is super important in understanding exactly what it is that you're actually putting into your body, and being able to tune in, like I said before, and really feel, you know, how does your body feel after 10 minutes of eating a particular food, or, you know, is it an hour later? You know, is your energy uplifted? Do you feel energized? Do you feel excited? Are you taking, you know, you feel like you can conquer the world, or do you feel like just curling up in a corner and going to sleep? And it's one of the main reasons I pulled grains out of my diet, simply because I just wanted to, it literally put me into a coma. Like 10 minutes later, I would just be exhausted, I would be out cold, and and just unable to function for generally 20 to 30 minutes after, and it really, really impacted me in a massive way. And when I cut grains out, my whole life just changed. You know, my mind fog got clear, and I just felt so much better in myself. So I love a paleo diet. You know, I'm not a huge believer in one diet fits all, or that there's the bee's knees of all diets, that there's an exceptional one. I think it really is person to person, and definitely time to time as well, what your body may be able to handle or deal with at one point in your life could be completely different to another point in your life. So if your body is under huge amounts of stress just through other lifestyle factors, or perhaps, you know, a stressful job or stressful relationship, things like that you're working on to improve anyway or to change, but supporting your body through that process is absolutely important too. So hey Mel, great to have you on here, hun. So definitely taking really great care of your body in those times, and the more that you're actually tuned into your body, you know, allowing yourself to feel what you're actually feeling, the less it will need to be expressed through your physical body too. So yeah, that's a great question, Tuan. So when you go to bed with lots and lots of thoughts running through, generally that's where I don't seem to have that problem. To be really honest, normally when I hit the bed, I'm out within 30 seconds. It definitely amazes a lot of people around me that I can fall asleep so fast. Yeah, I'm very much an advocate of the power nap during the day. But when our mind is super, super active, I think it's understanding what you're actually doing before you go to bed. Are you stimulating your mind? Are you on Facebook? Are you on a computer screen? Because that blue light, it doesn't seem like a blue light, but there's a blue light that's projected from your iPhone or from your computer. And what it does, it's stimulating the pineal gland. So the pineal gland is imperative in your sleep cycle. So it helps to regulate melatonin, and of course serotonin is made predominantly in the gut. So serotonin is one of the great feel-good hormones. So this is where digestive health really will impact your sleep and levels of anxiety in your body and things like that as well. So your serotonin and melatonin are all controlled, or part of the control comes through the pineal gland. And so if the pineal gland, it is light receptive. So naturally, you know, if we took away all artificial lighting and we went back to caveman days, your pineal gland, when it senses that the sun's going down and that there's no more light, it naturally will start the melatonin production. So it lets you know that, yep, it's time for sleep and it's time to wind down. And then when the sun wakes up and there's light again, so light is hitting the pineal gland, it's letting your body know, okay, it's time to wake up, it's time to get into the day and start going. And so one of the key things is, what is your nighttime routine? Do you actually have a nighttime routine that is settling for your body? So do you start to dim the lights? Are you putting nice lamps on instead of having the full brunt of lights on in your house and letting your body know it's time for sleep? If there's a lot of thoughts and things like that, generally for myself personally, on the few times I have experienced that, I will definitely journal. I'll get it out. So I allow myself to express or write down or do a brain dump. So if I'm running through mental lists, it's generally because I feel totally overwhelmed with whatever I've got going on. So I definitely will write out those and just do a complete brain dump just to get it out of my head. Other times I will do deep breathing. I will do meditation. I always find counting is exceptional for me, but I do know that feeling where it's like you're laying in bed and it's like, okay, sleep, you can kind of happen anytime now. And to be really honest with you guys, if I do find that, I tend to wake up very early, and I can wake up as early as, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I know that sounds like a little bit antsy, and it's definitely not something that I recommend doing or would want to do regularly. But occasionally, if I can't sleep, I will literally just get back up and I'll actually do something productive until I feel tired enough to actually go back to bed. And that rarely happens. If I've got a good solid 5 to 6 hours sleep in prior, I'll normally stay up for the day then as well. So I don't know that that's particularly helpful as such, but it is what I do, and it does seem to work really well for me. I might have a 10 or 20 minute nap during the day because of that, but generally, I would look at what are the things that you're actually doing leading up to bedtime. What is your bedtime routine? Are you still trying to work? Are you still trying to sort out problems? Or is it that you've given yourself a good 2 to 3 hours of relaxation, of connection, family time, or speaking with beautiful friends, or, you know, just doing something that is genuinely loving and relaxing for yourself as well, like filling your own bucket up. And I think the more, like I said before, the more that we're actually tuned into our body and just asking, you know, what is it that my body needs right now? Is it, you know, does it need some more fun? Does it need some playfulness? Or does it need, you know, perhaps some body work? So whether that's kinesiology, or whether that's massage, or whether that's chiro, or is it, you know, a visit to the naturopath, or what is it that your body needs? Your body has all the answers. It is super, super, super intelligent, and it is giving us clues and answers all of the time. It's just a lot of the time we are so caught up in our world trying to push through and solve all these other issues that our body gets forgotten, and it doesn't. Hey Kirst, great to have you on here, hon. Hey Nini. And it doesn't always, you know, get the look in or get the attention that it absolutely deserves, and that it's absolutely imperative for us to function at our best. And, you know, so many people say, I haven't got the time to exercise, or I haven't got time to prepare good food. My motto is you haven't got time to not do that, because if you want to show up as the best version of you, if you want to be truly loving and have your bucket overflowing with absolute vibrant energy, and you want to feel great every day, you know, there is nothing more satisfying than waking up feeling amazing in your body and just smashing through a whole bunch of work. And hey Richard, great to have you on here. Smashing through a whole bunch of stuff and being super, super productive, because you've treated your body like a finely tuned race car, and you're really taking awesome care of it, as opposed to, you know, neglecting it, running it dry on fuel, you know, not fueling it with the right foods, not giving it the proper rest or the services that it actually needs. So whether that's body work, like I just mentioned. So a lot of those things can definitely impact on our health and well-being as well. And I want to share quickly, you know, one of the main things that's made a massive difference with me, with my digestive system as well, is definitely incorporating more whole foods into my diet. And I think, you know, prebiotic and probiotic foods are imperative as well for digestive health, and definitely, you know, getting you good fats in, quality lean proteins as well. Yes, absolutely, Tuan. So just reading Tuan's statement there, you know, your first thoughts in the morning is also key to how you run your day. And I couldn't agree more, which is why I jump in and definitely do my mindset work first thing in the morning. But yeah, the other things, you know, when we're looking at fueling our body properly, you know, making sure that you get your good lean proteins in, that you get your good quality carbohydrates, you know, not your processed cereals and toasts and things like that. And it's not that I'm overly against all those things, but nutritionally, when you look at what is in, you know, all of those things, and I think mainstream, we've been taught, you know, you wake up and you have your orange juice and your piece of toast and your cereal and your milk, and it's just, for me, oh my God, like if I was still functioning on that, I would not be functioning during the day, or still consuming that in my diet every day. I would be really struggling. And so it's always looking, you know, what are you putting in your body that's full of great nutrition, that's going to be giving your body exactly what it needs and setting it up for the day to be your best version of you. And I find, you know, doing a small morning meditation and things like that, and really just tuning into your body. What does your body need that day in terms of exercise? Hydration is obviously absolutely imperative. It's something that we all know but not necessarily doing. So get your 1 litre water bottle out, get 2 to 3 litres of water into you per day. There's obviously guidelines on, if you Googled, you know, how much water that your body specifically needs per day, you know, it goes back to ounces and kilograms or pounds. But you'll know if you're feeling thirsty, you are already in the chronic stages of dehydration. So, and if your lips are dry and things like that, definitely getting more water into your system. It's one of the quickest ways. And your breath and your oxygen. So how deeply you're breathing And I'm very mindful of my breath at the moment because I'm obviously talking a lot. And so I'm not necessarily doing a lot of deep breathing with that as well, but getting oxygen and your water in are the two fastest ways to really improve your hydration. Sorry, not your hydration, well, your hydration as well, but your energy overall within your body. And you will notice a massive difference once you start alkalizing your body through whether that's lemon water or just more greens in your diet. You'll notice a massive impact in your energy levels over the coming days. One of the things, like I said before, whole food nutrition, and I've definitely, back in March I started trialing a health food nutrition supplement, which just blew me away in terms of the energy lift that it gave me. It is literally just fruits and veggies. It's amazing. If you're interested at all, please PM me afterwards. I'm more than happy to introduce you to that. And I think it's not definitely a magic bullet or a magic pill that you just take that and you can forget about your nutrition for the rest of the day. It is definitely designed to bridge the gap because the recommended servings, is generally 7 to 13 serves of fruits and veggies in a day. And if we're, like normal human beings running around and being super busy, chances of us getting that amount into our diet is very, very low. I think it's like rated 2% through the latest studies, and don't quote me on which studies that is. I would have to look that up for you, but it is very, very low compared to what we're actually nutritionally trying to get in. So I've found that that's been one of the quickest ways to really get great nutrition in at a very, very cost-effective price, and it's done absolute wonders for my physical body and improving my energy, as well as really reducing inflammation and boosting my immune system as well. So I think that that's super important. The other thing that really can help people with their body is understanding, and I started to go into this before with the kinesiology, the framework that we actually work from is that our body is this beautiful messenger. So it is giving us signs and signals all of the time as to what potentially we may need to shift or change within our life. Louise Hay is a great, wonderful example of the ways that she's taken a lot of metaphysical principles and actually helped people understand why our body is actually acting the way that it is, and perhaps, what are some of those metaphysical signs or symptoms or clues that our body is actually giving us that we really need to look at in other areas of our life. And so I'll give a couple of examples around that. Back pain is a huge thing, obviously, when people are experiencing back pain. And a lot of that goes back to support. So feeling either supported. Hey, Leanne, great to have you on here, hun. Definitely how you feel supported each day. And so that's how you're supporting yourself, and that could be physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, all of those things. How you're allowing yourself to be supported. Are you reaching out for help? Are you asking for help when you actually need it? If you've got knee pain is generally all about change of direction, how flexible you feel within that, and what emotions that you're holding around changing directions as well. So if you feel you've been forced to change direction, you'll have some strong emotions around that. Or if you feel a sense of guilt for changing direction, there'll be a sensation of pain. Generally, the emotion of guilt tries to punish. So whether, that's obviously another symptom within the body. If we're experiencing pain, it's a way that we can punish ourselves for a particular behaviour or for something wrong that we think that we've done, even if it's on a subconscious level. And so understanding, all the different areas in your life. If your shoulders obviously are tight and tense, that can generally go back into feeling too burdened, taking on too much responsibility, feeling the weight of life on our shoulders. So it makes sense, digestive system's all about flow in life. What can I assimilate? Am I biting off more than I can chew? Am I trying to digest too much and assimilate too much? Have I got too much coming into my life at the moment? Or perhaps, if we look at the lower end of things, the large intestine, if we're suffering from constipation and things like that, what are we not letting go of? What are we holding on to that is no longer serving us, that's creating toxicity in our body, either mentally or emotionally, spiritually, physically or financially, you know, what is it that we now need to let go of as well. So Heal Your Life is a great book by Louise Hay. You can just Google search a lot of things, you know, metaphysical meaning of, and even if I cut my finger, or if I jam my finger, or kick my toe, if it's a particular toe, I will always look up what is the metaphysical meaning of that, because I truly believe our body is giving us little feathers and little signs and little symptoms. So it's like, it'll start with a feather, and if we don't listen to the feather, so it's like, oh, I'm too busy, you know, perhaps, you know, we might have found a lump, or, you know, there's just something that doesn't feel right in our body, but we are ignoring it because, you know, we're too busy with what's going on in our life, then it can really make things challenging, because the body will continue to send and deliver the message until we get it. So then we get a brick, you know, it might be that we break an ankle, or that we end up having to have a serious operation, or, you know, there's something else going on there. And if we're still not listening, then we will get a Mack truck. And a Mack truck is a pretty big experience, whether that's, you know, a massive car accident, whether that's a life-threatening illness or something like that. But our body is delivering those soul messages of what is it that needs to be addressed, what needs to be looked at, and you can guarantee that that stress is being held in your body. I've done so much work around this, where people have had pain that they've not been able to get rid of, or, you know, numbness in their legs, which, you know, can relate back to just not feeling your own feelings. So trying to move forward. Legs are all about being able to move forward. Core, hips is all about core stability, how stable we feel in being able to move forward. So if you've got some signs and symptoms there with your body that is showing up, and, you know, you've got those little red flags, I really strongly encourage you guys to look at those things, because they are sending you some flags and some warnings. There is some area of your life that is not congruent currently with where you're at or what you're needing to do, and it's time for change. And if not, you know, your physical body will continue to be impacted by that. It's one of the greatest reasons why, you know, if people have a shoulder reconstruction or a knee reconstruction, and 4 to 6 months later they're still having issues with that particular joint, or that particular, you know, it's not healing well, or there's something going on there, generally it's because there's emotion trapped, and we still haven't listened to the message that we actually really need. So hey Annette, great to have you on here. So tuning into your body is one of the best things that you can actually do to figure out what it is that you now need to change. If you're looking for some guidance around health and well-being, I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you guys. As always, here to help in any way possible. If you're interested in the whole food nutrition supplement to really boost your energy, give your body exactly what it needs, and help bridge that gap between getting really great nutrition in and inviting your body to really bring more of it in, it can be very encouraging. Once the body starts to get a feel of what it's like with good nutrition in its body, it generally craves more and more of the really good stuff, as opposed to, you know, some false cravings from different biochemistry that's being sent out through our body, where it's a foreign food or a foreign chemical, and the body really gets confused with that as well. So have a magnificent day, guys, and like I said, please get in contact with me if you're looking to improve your health and well-being on any level. More than happy to chat further about that. Catch you guys later. Bye.